The connections to UK and U of L will have a lot to talk about at this week's conference media days, and most of that will surround stuff that's happening off the field. Now, Eric Crawford and I are headed to Atlanta for SEC media days, and conference expansion is going to be all the talk, Griff.
Yeah, no kidding. Rick Bozich and I are headed to Charlotte this week for ACC media days, and there's a good chance the talk of conference realignment will be taking center stage. Rick and Eric sat down with U of L athletic director Josh Heird to ask all about the reported changes on the college sports horizon.
Have you had any conversations at all with Commissioner Phillips? Have there been conference calls at all among ACC athletic directors?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he's extremely engaged. He's engaged with the presidents, he's engaged with the ADs, and I can tell you there has not been a lack of communication. There's been conference calls, there's been individual phone calls. No, I don't think there's any lack of information or transparency there. At this time, I think it's a matter of just getting as much information as possible so that the presidents, really at the end of the day, it's their decision as far as what the path forward is. And the commissioner's he's done an excellent job in making sure that ADs and presidents have as much information as possible.
I mean, nearly every day there's a story, about an ACC or Big 12 or Pac-12 team trying to go to the SEC or the Big 10. Last week it was the swim-swam story of, I think it was Virginia, Clemson, North Carolina, Florida State. Am I right, going to the SEC?
That is, I believe that to be true, yes.
Do you follow those stories? Because there's so many of them, and do you fear that ACC members are looking to leave?
My reaction when people ask me about that is I always go back to the State Farm commercial where they say it's on the internet, so it must be true. There's an element of that, like, oh, it's on Twitter, and all of a sudden there's a buzz that these schools are looking to go to another conference. And what I would tell our fans to do there is just dissect and analyze the situation for a little bit, because there's not a conference out there that's going to take an institution that doesn't provide more value than each of those institutions is already getting. I believe all the institutions in this conference are committed to the ACC. I really do.
What are your primary concerns about the future survival of the ACC?
I guess I'll call it keeping up with the Joneses. The SEC and the Big Ten have established themselves as the conferences that are generating the most revenue. Those two conferences have established themselves as generating the most revenue. Notice I didn't say I think they're the best conferences. What conference won more national championships this year than any others? The ACC. And you can sit here and say, well, some of those might have been in wrestling or fencing or these smaller sports, whatever it may be. But we're trying to create a comprehensive athletic department. And I think all the institutions in the ACC are doing that, and I think that's one of the reasons that we are committed to sticking together. And look, if we generate close to as much revenue as those other two conferences, we're going to be as competitive or more competitive than they are, and I think we've proven that.